Oh, hi. If you don't mind, I'll pull you out a classic epic from the vault. Here it is. Empty Room by Wanderer D. And the Empty Room by Wanderer D. Chapter 1. Empty Room. The hall had been quiet for almost half an hour before the door was pushed open once more and Luna walked in again. The two Earth Pony guards standing on either side of Princess Celestia's room glanced at each other before, at the cracking door, they closely behind her. Princess Luna stepped into the hallway again, barely sparing them a glance, or giving any indication of her intentions, despite this being the 6th time this night she had gone through the exact same routine. Just as before, she walked towards them, only to stop a few paces away and stand at the right front of the blank wall, gazing at it with unusual intensity. The two guards changed looks again. When one was about to speak, the other one shook his head, grumbling a bit. The first guard settled back to his post, pretending aloof disinterest while they surreptitiously observed the recently reinstated princess. After a few moments of study, Luna started pacing, keeping her sight on the wall. The two guards followed her with their eyes, getting more and more nervous as she would stop and stare, muttering to herself before resuming her pacing. "Hey!" One of them started to whisper to the other from the side of his muzzle. "You think she's going to make—" "Damn it all!" Luna suddenly roared, stomping her hose on the floor, enough to crack the stone under them and making the guards jump in fright. The ensuing crash alerted Luna to what had happened, as she sheepishly watched the helmet roll past her. Sorry. The pair looked back at her, bewildered, until the door behind her creaked open. Princess Celestia walked out of her room, eyes heavy with sleep. Luna? She shook her head, blinking aimlessly. Her eyes slowly opened as she became more and more awake, finally settled on the two guards who were still holding on to each other, flushing so hard their coats looked like shreds of tomato. She arched an eyebrow, and the two hastily stared at it reports at the other side of her door. Still looking a bit embarrassed, Luna levitated the helmet that rolled past her earlier. "Sorry, sister," she said, trying to place the helmet correctly on the nervous guard's head. "What happened?" Celestia asked, trying to stifle a yawn. "It's very early, Luna." Luna sighed. I know. It's just... There's something amiss." Luna slipped her hoof in every direction of the empty hall. "I know I haven't been here for 1,000 years, but... Didn't you design a room right next to yours when you were thinking of having Canterlot Castle built?" Luna blinked. "What? I don't remember any rooms next to mine." "But I'm sure of it," Luna said, making her way to where she thought it would be, right in front of the hall she had been staring at earlier. "Did you redesign the layout we worked on back home while I was gone?" "No," Celestia said, walking up to her. "But, Luna, are you sure you're not confusing this hall with the one in the old castle?" Luna shook her head. "I distinctly remember there being a room right here. You must consider, sister, that while I was trapped to the moon, almost no time passed for me." Her voice softened a little. "It was mostly the nightmare that lived through your lonely exile." Her eyes returned to the wall, and her voice followed suit, till it was at full strength. "I can almost see the door. I'm sure of it." Celestia turned and stared at the wall. Her eyes narrowed. She peered closer, a left eyebrow twitched, and then curled incredulously. "No, I don't think there was ever anything there, Luna." Luna groaned. "Ugh, I feel something here, sister. Truly." Celestia blinked, looking at her sister's stern expression. "I can see that, Luna, but there is nothing here." Luna groaned, and exasperated, glanced towards Celestia's room. "You two guards, come here." The guards looked dubious, but a royal order was, after all, royal order. There was a reason words were almost always capitalized.
Your Highness?"
"Look over here and tell me what you see." Luna pondered, blinking at the blank wall. The guards stared at it.
See, a wall, Your Highness."
"Me too," the other added then. As if suddenly getting comprehension, he smiled triumphantly. "I also see granite blocks making the wall." When it looked like Luna was seriously considered kicking the guard in the face so hard, He would meet the celestial body named after her. Celestia felt like she had to interrupt. Luna, there is nothing there, really. You must be confused. Celestia said kindly, maybe you're tired. It has been a lot of work catching up with history, taxes, and new ways of ruling. Sister, Luna grumbled, look at them. Gods, look at where I'm pointing. Celestia decided to humor her sister. After a moment she frowned. My little guards, please, look to where my sister is pointing. Both guards looked up, confused.
We are, your majesty.
Celestia looked at Luna, who had a smug smile on her face. I see, she whispered, eyes wide in surprise. There's some sort of compulsion spell making them not look at the spot you are telling them about. Not only then, Luna said after a moment of hesitation, you as well, sister. What? Celestia reared up to keep himself back to stare at Luna. But that can't be. The only other pony that could cast such a spell is you. Luna nodded. I know I didn't, she said, before glancing at the wall. I'm sure the door is there, so if you'll excuse me. She quickly turned around, and using her considerable strength, kicked the wall with all the power her hind legs could muster. The sound of snapping wood filled the hall, and for a moment Celestia thought she had seen something. She concentrated harder as her sister kicked a second time. Wow! This is her sister's kick. It connected with the invisible door. A mere light seemed flashed in front of her eyes, just for a second. Concentrating her magic, she waited for her sister's third kick, and cast the strongest spell she could conjure quickly enough. The spell and the damage to the door were too much for the illusion trying to protect it. With a crack that shook the hall, the spell broke into an imperial, crystal-like pieces that were visible to the naked eye for a moment, before evaporating into nothing amidst the broken pieces of a once black-lacquered door. A pulse of energy flowed from within the room, before disappearing completely, making both princesses frown with worry. The guards standing before them stared in surprise at the sudden appearance of a room where there used to be nothing but a blank wall. But they recovered it completely, seizing their swords and approaching it carefully. Wait, Luna ordered. My sister and I will go first. We don't know if there's any more magic in there that might affect you. The guards looked slightly nervous at the prospect, and fell back as Celestia herself nodded. My sister is right. No doubt others have felt the heresy being released and heard the ruckus. Guard the entrance to the hall, she said, looking to the one on the left. Her eyes fell on the remaining guards. Summon Captain Lance immediately. When both nodded and left to perform their duties, Celestia and Luna slowly made their way to the door, and carefully kicked in the last pieces of strong wooden door before walking inside, their magic illuminating the interior. What does this mean? Luna gasped, looking around in wonder and some measure of horror as her eyes turned to her sister. Celestia sank to her knees, tears flowing freely as she looked around the room. I don't know, but I can't stop crying. Her host came to her eyes, and she was confused and scared, but even worse, there was a horrible sinking feeling inside of her, as if something very important had suddenly gone missing. No, Celestia thought. It had been missing for a long time. I just never noticed. Selena was shaken by her sister's obvious pain and fear. She hadn't seen anything of the like since he had turned into Nightmare Moon 1,000 years ago. All things have changed, she thought. When I turned, I felt nothing but disgust at Celestia's pain and loss. And now... Her thoughts trailed off, unwilling to ponder her dark past any longer. She opted to make her way slowly around the room, avoiding the small, hoof-carved bookshelf, the little table, wooden blocks, until she stood in front of an empty white crib standing next to a small cabinet with tiny dresses and baubles. "Oh, it's Sunset's bedroom!" The room had still had the feeling of magic in it, and whatever that spell had been before then, and it preserved everything just like it had been the night or day the room had closed and hidden, from the lack of dust and perfect state of the items around, down to the sense of loss. On the seats of the crib, she could see the wrinkles around a small empty space, making the absence inside even more obvious. Next to a small pillow lay two small dolls, one of which, with a pang of stunned nostalgic pain, she recognized as herself. The other one was, of course, a doll in the likeness of Celestia. She went back to her sister, who was looking at the room, grasping for understanding. her head turning to and fro, searching for clues, tears still streaming out of her eyes. "There must be something!" Celestia whispered desperately. "Some object, some sign. Why was this hidden? Why does it hurt so much, Luna?" She looked at her sister, eyes wide. Luna grins. There was so much pain in those eyes. She hated to ask, but she had to. It was the elephant in the room, the question that would break her sister. Would also perhaps help her think. Maybe even nudge her memories and allow her to remember some detail they had missed so far. "Sister," Luna spoke up, drawing those purple-pink eyes to her. "Did you ever have a filly?" "The great Equestria travel Trixie!" growled. Looking at the map, she was levitating for the 15th time. She followed the directions on it perfectly. Trixie looked around her, trying to figure out her position through the dense vegetation of the deep forest. Finally admitted to herself she was lost. Very lost. Completely, utterly, absolutely, undeniably, definitely lost. She was so lost her compass was not even trying to point north anymore. It had given up on her, just like all her fans. The great and powerful Trixie also admitted that she had no idea what to do now, but promised to herself that if she ever saw the Earth point that had sold her the useless map in her host, the great and powerful Trixie would make the bastard pay. Oh yes, he would pay so hard. Because nobody humiliated and scammed a great and powerful Trixie and lived the tale unscathed. A treacherous voice inside Trixie's head, however, reminded her that she was so lost it would probably be impossible to meet the pony in question ever again. Trixie, however, quenched that thought with so much force, she passed out. When Trixie woke up again, she had a splitting headache. It was also nighttime. Might as well try to figure out something before Trixie has another incident, Trixie muttered, casting a quick note to tell the time. Now 2 hours away from dawn. She did remember that she also had a cat turret spell, and know which direction she was facing. Her horn was glowing with magic. She concentrated, only for her magic to fail to shower her sparks. Yeah! The great and powerful Trixie squeaked in surprise. What the hey? What the hey? She shouted at the top of her lungs. A silly compass Trixie could understand, but a spell? A spell? What in the name of Tartarus is going on here? A soft rumbling growl quieted the great and powerful Trixie. Looked around fearfully, turning in place, trying to find its origin. Who dares? A deep, hissing voice made its way towards Trixie, echoing around her. Who dares? Awaken the Guardian. Trixie blinked, then looked at a map on the ground, where a circled red X marked a spot in the middle of nowhere with the words Temple of the Guardian scribbled next to it. Oh, who knew? Your opponent had sold her the map had actually given her what she wanted. The great and powerful Trixie mentally recovered from the list of ponies that would suffer from her wrath. A slithering sound made her snap her back to the present. I await your answer, little pony. The voice hissed in her ear. Fearfully, she turned around, but there was no pony there. Her eyes roamed the silent forest, but she tried to speak, but faltered. Taking a deep breath, she straightened up, looking defiantly into the darkness between the trees. The great powerful Trixie has awakened you, Guardian. I made my way here through the challenges that would make any other pony shriek in fear, chasing dangers that none but the great and powerful Trixie would have been able to overcome. And what does the great and powerful Trixie want with the Guardian? Sissy frowned. The Guardian said her name in a way that sounded condescending. But no, it couldn't be. The great and powerful Trixie would never be treated condescendingly. She was the only one who deserved to look down on others. Guardian, I, the great and powerful Trixie, have come here to learn from you the ancient magics of Equestria. A low rumble shook her as she looked around confused until she understood. The Guardian was laughing at her. Trixie mentally added him to the list of ponies, or whatever he was, that would suffer her wrath. Little pony. The voice hissed, amused. Little pony. Do you know who it is that you have awakened? Well, duh. The great and powerful Trixie snoring. The Guardian, you said so yourself. Miss slowly started to gather around her hose. Yes, the voice said. But did it ever occur to you to wonder the Guardian of what exactly? Trixie opened her mouth to answer, but then slowly closed it. She had not, in fact, wondered what the Guardian she was looking for actually guarded. Trixie, guessed you guard great power, she ventured. There was a pause. Well, yes, I do. The voice said eventually, but it is not all. I possess great power, true, but it is not for ponies to learn to use. Damn it! Trixie swore, adding the stupid earth pony to her mental list again. Are you sure? She asked hopefully. Trixie had heard that you had vast knowledge. Surely you could teach Trixie something. There was a silence again. This time, though, even the slithering and rustling around her quieted down. A sense of dread slowly started to descend upon her. The great and powerful Trixie sitting nervously, asking herself if this had been a good idea after all. The Guardian spoke. Yes, I suppose there is something I could teach you. Oh, great and powerful Trixie. Really? Trixie smiled gently, fears forgotten. Trixie can't wait to learn something to prove to everybody. The great and powerful Trixie is not some pony to mock. Trixie debated whether or not to take the Earth Pony or Guardian off her list, but decided to wait until she learned a new magic. If it was cool and powerful, she would take them off. If not, well, they didn't need to know anyway until she extracted her revenge. Yes, the pony said once again, whispering in her ear, sending shivers up her spine. I will teach you now the one knowledge ponies can learn from me. The knowledge of fear. Suddenly, the great and powerful Trixie turned around and looked up and up until she could see the face of the Guardian. For a moment she stared at it. Then, like a snapping whip, the Guardian's jaws descended on Trixie. Screams echoed in the jungle, scaring the wildlife until they finally quieted down. Twilight Sparkle jumped in her bed with spiked bells loud enough to wake her up. On the way down, she completely missed the mattress and crashed next to the still snoring baby dragon. Ow! She moaned, giving the sleepy reptile a glare when slowly melted away. When he grumbled his sleep until it turned, she chuckled. Really? I could see angry at such a cute. Her thoughts were interrupted when a squirrel bumped her just behind her horn, making her cross-eyed for a sec. Shaking her head, she levitated the scroll with her magic, noticing the seal was not Princess Celestia's, but having a silver moon on it instead of the usual gold sun symbol. I never received mail from Princess Luna, she whispered, opening the scroll. It explains the late hour, though. She chuckled, noticing it was still dark outside. She was about to read the scroll. The door to the balcony kicked in. What the? Twice shot to her feet. With a flash of her horn, the candles on her room were ignited. Rainbow Dash, what are you doing here at this time of night? Breathing heavily, Rainbow Dash looked at her, shook her head. Twilight, it's not nighttime. Twilight blinked. Dash, you're clearly mistaken. Just look outside. The moon's still up. I know that! Rainbow Dash snapped, and finally regained her breath. But it should have been gone by now. Every pony is in a panic. What? Twilight went to a small water clock that he received as a present from Princess Celestia. She stared. It was 8 a.m. But that's... Everyone's starting to think that Nightmare Moon has returned, Dash said. In the distance, Twilight could finally hear the confused shouting. Remembering the scroll dimension as Luna's alter ego, Twilight quickly returned to it and read as fast as she could. Rainbow Dash paced around as she asserted her friend. Twilight! Yes, as the unicorn's took hold of the spell ended abruptly. The piece of parchment fell to the floor next to the still snoring Spike. Are you okay? You look pale. I need to go to Canterlot, she said, shaking her head, still in shock. The princesses need me, immediately. They've already sent a chariot. What? Dash's eyes followed her friend as he started packing things for her magic. Still obviously in a daze as he was trying to pack Spike, bed and all, into her bag. But if the moon is out, it has to be Luna. You can't go there. Dash! Twilight said, her magic twisting Spike upside down and trying to force him into the bag. Princess Celestia can't bring the sun up. They need me there. Well, you're not going alone, Sugar Cube. A very distinct voice said from the entrance to her room. The parents heard to see Applejack, flanked by Rarity and Fluttershy, steady and attention, with Pinkie Pie bouncing behind them. Y'all didn't think we would not head straight there when the sun didn't rise, did you? Applejack said with a smirk. Well, I don't think any of us ever doubted you head straight out into the night looking for Princess Celestia. I really, darling, Rarity quipped. One of my mind would give past the toss of visit Canterlot. Twice after Bailey slowed down as her fears fade, feeling security and unity with her friends strengthened. She nodded, smiling a bit secretly, but with more confidence than before. Thank you. Please, go get ready. I need to finish packing you right back to Princess Luna. Yaris prepared to leave, but were interrupted by Twilight's urgent voice. Please, hurry. Chapter 2. In the wake of the Guardian. Hey! The Guardian looked around, but refused to look at her. I said, hey! The great and powerful Trixie shouted at the unyielding creature. Look at me, you reptile! The Guardian, however, ignored her, choosing instead to ponder the night sky. Trixie growled. No pony, or rather, no lizard, ignored the great and powerful Trixie. Oh, you are going to pay right now! Her horn flared with magic, taking hold of a trio of sizable boulders nearby. With a smirk, Trixie attempted to levitate them and throw them at the Guardian. But her smile died when the spell simply fizzled into nothing. Trixie blinked, confused, before her eyes narrowed in contempt. You stupid Guardian! Stop stealing the magic of the great and powerful Trixie! She stomped up to the huge creature, kicked him as hard as she could with her hind legs. However, her host met with no resistance as she lost balance. Trixie landed in a heap and twisted around to glare at the creature as he slithered away. How dare you dodge Trixie kick! She hollered. And what the hell was that? You're supposed to teach Trixie something, and all you did was scare Trixie half to death! She paused. Not that the great and powerful Trixie was even remotely scared to begin with, but it was a good attempt. Trixie will give you that. Gary did not turn around, instead heading into the forest. Hey! Stop ignoring Trixie! Trixie insisted. A small, nasal voice spoke on her right. He's not ignoring you. Wah! Trixie jumped several feet in the air and landed horn pointing towards the cloaked pony dead startled or so. Her eyes followed the cloak up into the skull hidden under his hood. Two burning red dots fixed on her under a strangely shaped, suspiciously sharp-looking horn. Who the hell are you? And why are your skin and muscles missing? The skeleton pony regarded her as he was dense. Before he could reply, she interrupted him. And what the hey do you mean he wasn't ignoring me? Trixie was shouting at him, and even kicked him. The cloaked pony sighed. He wasn't ignoring you. Look around. For the first time since awakening, Trixie looked at the small clearing. Well, what is it you want me to see? I mean, there's a lot of red around here, and blue... Hair? Trixie shook her head. It couldn't be. In fact, she looked at herself with slight relief when she noticed her mane seemed to be in perfect condition. Then she noticed something that made her tremble to the core of her being. Is that... Trixie stammered, looking slightly green. Yes, the cloak pony said. But... She motioned with her hose at her own face. Dick stared, which was completely in place. Unlike the other one. Let's just say the Guardian did not try to scare you. Oh. Trixie, a great and powerful Trixie, grew confused. She floated off the ground and began to glow softly. Most of the light falling out of her, disappearing into the night. What's happening? The skeleton pony shrugged. It was hard to tell. His body was covered with that black cloak. Nothing. You're going beyond. As your ties to this world are broken one by one, you'll begin the next journey. Trixie fell silent. Seemed so... sad. She let herself drift up, thinking about everything she could have done differently. Seeing that Charles was on his way, Mort nodded to himself and turned to his next appointment. Maybe soon he would get an interesting pony, like that drummer, or maybe a lead singer. You can get more eyebrows that way. Trixie looked at a world below her. From her vantage, she was now floating over the treetops, and she could make out the lights of a distant city and the shape of the guardian sneaking in that direction. It was a city that she would never be able to perform, ever. All those ponies would be deprived of her greatness. It was too nuts. The revenge she wouldn't be able to enact. The lights around her body died as she grew angry. Oh, hey, no! She growled. The great and powerful Trixie is not going quietly after becoming lunch for an overgrown snake! Her ethereal form solidified as she floated slowly down to ground level. Where her host touched the jungle floor, Trixie concentrated. After a few moments, a slightly tuned magician sap lifted from the ground. Trixie grinned. It seemed like such a small feat when compared to what she could do before. But it was a step forward. She would get her revenge yet. The sentries outside Celestia's hall opened the doors just enough for their fellow guard to step in, quickly closing them behind to avoid revealing anything to the curious nobles and servants that were wandering outside.
Princess Luna!
The guard called out, slowing down as he approached the mysterious room. Luna slowly emerged from the room, a frown crossing her countenance before she turned to stare at the guard, once he was still uncomfortably placed. I thought I ordered the hall closed to any pony and everything but the most important of matters. She calmly walked to the terrified guard. What could be so important as to make you bust into the hall without even knocking?
He took a deep breath. Twilight Sparkle and her friends are here. You asked us to let you know immediately as soon as their chariot landed, and, there's no other way to reach you than to walk into the hall, Your Highness, since you blocked all sorts of magical scrying and communication.
Luna stared impassively at the guard, not saying a word. He cast a glance at the exit, calculating how quickly he could get there, and estimating how much time he had before he would be blasted to pieces. Oh, Luna blinked and nodded. So I did. Well done, God. Bring Twilight Sparkle here, alone, and have her friends tended to. She turned around and headed back to the room.
It was, Your Highness.
He hesitated, drawing Luna's head back to him. Yes? Luna asked, tilting her head a little.
How's Princess Celestia feeling? We're all worried about her.
Luna sighed wearily. What is your name, God? The guard stood straighter.
Ebon Rain, Your Highness.
She will recuperate, Ebon Rain. Tell everybody that the sun will soon return to its daily routine. Ebon Rain nodded and left immediately, leaving Luna in the hall with her thoughts. Twilight Sparkle walked slowly through Canterlot, with her friends following her a few steps behind. Round them, ponies of all types argued amongst themselves over who was responsible for the current situation. It was too soon after Luna's return, and the legend of the Mare and the Moon was still real fresh in their minds of the ponies. I am sure that Princess Celestia is just ill, a cream-colored mare reasserted her husband.
I heard that Princess Luna turned into a nightmare again.
Karen looked around fearfully.
She was away for 1,000 years, and she's back, and she doesn't want revenge.
Twilight encountered similar discussions along the way, mostly centered on Luna's role in keeping the sun from rising. My, it seems that ponies are rather quick to presume, Verity observed. Twilight sighed. I wish he wouldn't talk about Princess Luna like that, she said. Well, that's better for what she hovered. You have to admit, it does look kind of suspicious. The last time something like this happened was her fault, you know. Twilight nodded, frowning. But that was more than 1,000 years ago, and we freed her from the nightmare. There's no way Princess Luna would fall back into it just like that. Princess Luna really doesn't have any reason to be jealous anymore, does she? Flashlight ventured. I mean, she scratched the floor, not making eye contact. She's been pretty happy with the nightlife and... Flashlight's right! Pinkie Pie interrupted. With all the parties, nightclubs, the discotheques, and vampire cults, there's no way she feels like nobody likes her nights. Guess it ain't gonna get us anywhere, Applejack stated. Let's hurry up and be with the princess. Then we'll find out what's really happening. A group of guards approached them.
Lady Twilight,
one of them said slowly curtly. Ebon Rain! Twilight Sparkle looked expectantly at the guard. Can you tell us what's going on?
The black-coated unicorn shook his head roughly. Afraid not, Lady Twilight. It's classified at the moment. Princess Luna is in a meeting with Princess Celestia at Canterlot. They require your princess there, in private.
Lale,
Hold on, Apple Pie can blame it, Applejack said, stepping up to Evan Ray, leaning to look him in the eye. All of us are here with the friends of the princesses. We should be able to go with her. Evan Ray sighed. Princess Luna is just pleased you are all here as well, but she has requested to meet with Lady Twilight in private. I guess you'll find out what's happened after that, maybe even with the rest of us.
None of you know what's happening? Twilight asked, earning several shakes of head from Evan Rain, the other guards in reply.
Afraid not, milady, Evan Rain said gruffly. The only pony besides princesses that knows at this time is Captain Lance.
Twilight sparkled blinked. I see. She turned to look at her friends. This sounds very serious, girls, so please, let me go first. I promise if I can tell you anything, I will. She looked pleadingly at the others. Her friends all smiled back in encouragement.
Aw, don't worry about it, Twilight.
Pinkie Pie giggled.
I'm sure we can find something fun to do in the meantime. It's Canterlot.
Rarity nodded. I see right, my dear.
Please go ahead.
Perhaps Spike can show us around. Come to think of it, where is Spike? Twilight asked, looking around. At another part of the castle, in Twilight's old room, a powerful snore shook her bags. Whoa. You must have stayed in the library, I guess, Applejack said, while Rainbow Dash tried to stifle a giggle.
Don't worry, Evergreen spoke up. Princess Luna asks that you are attended to for the rest of your stay. We've already assigned your rooms. We'll be happy to show you around the castle.
Sounds good to me,
Pinkie Pie said. Very well, then. Twilight smiled at Ebon Rain. Would you mind showing my friends around? I'm sure I can find my way to the princesses, and I'd like some pony to know I stay with them.
Evergreen smiled. Of course, milady. My shining star and stalwart shield escort you to the princesses by stead.
The mention of their names, two of the guards stepped forward and escorted Twilight away, leaving the others with Ebon Rain and a few other guards. Shiny Armor is busy at the Crystal Empire.
Hey, wasn't it funny how Twilight flinched every time they called her Lady Twilight?
Asked the others.
Yes, it was very strange. I think, maybe.
Said Fluttershy, who notices the guards trading looks when Rainbow Dash asked a question. No one else, except for Rarity, seemed to have caught on either.
Yeah, since when has she been called Lady Twilight?
Applejack chuckled.
Well, they make her sound like some prison noble.
Ebon Rain remained and opened his mouth, but Rarity was faster.
Oh dear,
she sighed, her husband saucing her temple.
You really don't know, do you?
Know what? Rainbow Dash asked.
Well,
I suppose I shouldn't be surprised, Rarity said after a moment.
But you didn't honestly think that Twilight was a common unicorn.
Well, duh,
Pinkie Pie piped up. Of course not, silly. She's the element of magic.
The guards traded glances, but a quick look from Ebon Rain stopped her from commenting.
No.
Rarity shook her head.
What I mean is, you didn't think she was a common unicorn, dear.
Sugar Cube, I think Pinkie Pie ought to point out there ain't nothing common about Twilight Sparkle, Applejack said gently.
If anything, she's the opposite.
The unicorn rolled around to face away from the group.
Rarity
grumbled incoherently to herself for a few seconds. Then, taking a deep, calming breath and forcing a smile, she turned to face the others again.
Allow me to spell it out for you.
She is not a commoner. She is an N-O-B-L-E.
Oh, we know that,
Dash said. Verity and the guards blinked.
You did? Yeah. She knows he's a loyal, noble, quirky egghead.
Dash listed. Verity gritted her teeth.
Not noble that way. Noble with a capital N.
Oh! The collective light and the condescending in their eyes was in that moment as beautiful as any Jessie ever found.
Wait, so she's rich?
Rainbow Dash asked, then grew excited.
Wow, and she probably knows a lot of influential and famous ponies, right? She might actually know one of the Wonderbolts that makes her like 30% cooler.
Was that for you? Applejack asked Ebon Rain, who nodded.
But how did you know?
Pinkie Pie asked Rarity, who blinked in surprise.
Well,
she grew up at Canterlot. She could afford going to the most prestigious university in all of Equestria. She was selected to be Celestia's personal student.
Wait, But that was because he really impressed her when she applied to start, Rainbow Dash interrupted. She told us herself.
Well, yes, that is true, Verity nodded. One simply cannot apply to Princess Celestia's school for gifted unicorns if one is a commoner.
Oh, ma,
A new voice said.
did you hear that?
The group observed a pair of unicorns that straight up to them. I believe that I saw these 5 walk through the hall in the company of Twilight Sparkle. Could they be her servants? One of them said. The other peered at them closely.
They are not authorized as his maidens, and I've never seen them in Canterlot before either. Hey! Who you calling a servant? We're Twilight's friends!
Rainbow Dash retorted, glaring at the unicorn.
And for your information, we have been here before. We were invited to the Grand Celtic Gala. Ma, I am brave.
The unicorn sneered at Pegasus.
Anyway you addressed her. It's positively unfathomable that a pony of her breeding would associate with a pony that did not know their proper position.
The other unicorn looked at Pinky up and down.
Just look at the state of Spain and the sense of class pedigree. So obviously inferior. Why don't you return to whatever backwater you came from?
She turned to the guards.
Guards, insist on them and search them out.
Desmond replied, but Rain stepped in front of her.
I'm afraid, Lady Clearhorn, that these 5 ladies are esteemed guests of not only Twilight Sparkle, but also personal friends of Princess Celestia and Luna.
Clearhorn looked at her with scorn.
I don't know why the princesses would bother with this rabble. Come now, dear,
the other unicorn said, sniffling rudely.
Let's be away from them. Please do,
Verity said, waving her hoof dismissively. The pair of unicorns stopped in their tracks, turning around to stare at Rarity.
I cannot tolerate the blatant murder of style that they have both succeeded at. What you say, darling?
Verity quit, smiling conspiratorially at a nearby noble. The smile secretly. Clearhorn pouted at Rarity.
How dare you? I know that this is an exclusive positive design, yes,
Rarity interrupted, stiffly dismissively, turning her nose up.
I noticed it was his lackluster work immediately, but felt it would be impolite to bring it up until you decide to share your thoughts with us. Given that you pretend sophistication, I believe it is my personal duty to correct your error. These are the highest addresses in Canterlot. How did you even begin to know this idea?
Rarity interrupted once more, levitating to him with one of the dresses.
These 2 ladies have obviously gone out of their way and they're desperate bid for reverence. What do you notice here?
Fireside glanced at the dresses and struck away, noticing that the other nobles had stopped to observe and were whispering to each other.
I think, that, the detail, I don't know if I should. Why, you're absolutely right,
Rarity gasped, letting the fabric fall from his button.
The details on this dress are on machine sewn,
she hissed.
Why, these are not designer clothes at all. They are the common result of mass production.
There rose a gasp from the crowd, and more than one noble seemed close to fainting. The 2 unicorn ladies stared, wide-eyed, at all the ponies around them, feeling their judging glances.
Well, you know what you should do, dearest,
Rarity offered kindly, smiling at the pair in a decidedly vicious manner.
Go find yourself better clothes if you want to socialize with the elite.
Certainly, you wouldn't want
any pony to confuse you with pussies.
The pair took a couple steps back, before turning around and galloping away, to dismissive, mocking laughter of the other nobles. Hey, my little pirates, come here. Can we have a word? Come closer. You see this? This is Rarity. This is how you should do Rarity. This is how you should write her. Don't have her so focused on her looks. Don't have her so focused on who she is. And don't have her so focused on, all of her outside qualities. Remember who she is and remember her nobility. Now go and rewrite it. The pair took a couple steps back before turning around and galloping away to dismissive and mocking laughter at the other nobles. Rainbow Dash stared in awe.
That was awesome. That was horrible.
Firesight spoke up, glaring at Rarity.
I would never expect you to be so cruel.
Well, I
That was one kind of a character assassination I haven't seen in a while. A familiar, yet unexpected voice said, making the whole group turn around. Well, it's only a character assassination, and the victim has killed to assassinate. A liar, dear. Rarity responded, smiling at the unicorn. Still, not what I was expecting from a fashion designer. There are a few things that assassins and designers have in common, Rarity responded, smiling at the unicorn. A soft edge and an eye for detail being two of them. Lyra smirked. Well, I wouldn't take it that personally, Rarity. Good just as her name suggests. Pretty, but useless. Her eyes narrowed, trying to look at the rest of the departed ponies, before settling on her demure friend. I am sorry for the lie, but I cannot stand by and lift not a hoof while a pair of uppercut leeches insult my friends. She helped her foot to mane. Besides, she said after a moment, those dresses were so last season. First I frowned but looked away, whispering, I still feel you shouldn't have. Now, what I would like to know is what you're doing here, Lara. Applejack spoke up, shaking her head at her friend's shenanigans. She looked at Lyra in confusion. Mid-green unicorn smiling shyly. Last I saw you, y'all were downtown Ponyville. Well, I have family here in Canterlot, and I attended the university here along with Twilight Sparkle. And those two, Lyra replied, leaving her hope that Gerald's ranks and glitter had gone. They were not. As a matter of fact, the Cypher's drawer knives in the drawer. Well, how about light? Applejack chuckled. I'm sorry, Lyra. I just never mistook you for a princely noble. Lyra smiled. It's okay. If it's fine with the guards, I can take you a tour of the palace. The guards looked at each other, until eventually Eli and Ryan stride.
We have to keep you company, but we can give you some space.
Sounds good to me, Applejack said with a smile. Lead the way, Ryla. Or should I say, Lady Lyra? Just Lyra will be fine. Unicorn replied, bemused as he started walking. This way. Let me show you the gardens first. I'm sure you'll love them. I used to play the lyre there every day after class. Did you and Twilight have to deal with those two idiots you were studying? Rainbow Dash asked as they walked. Sadly, no. Lyra said, grinning, but it was more tolerable than you may think. They might have been bullies even then, but it was always amusing to see the simple concerns goes right over their heads. Maybe all they needed was somebody to give them a hug, Fleshlight offered. Sugar Cube, I'll wear their hug of vapor, Applejack snored. Their escorts had to sniffle snorts of their own. It wouldn't do for certain nobles to see them act so casually. Twilight followed the guards through the palace, trying to keep calm. Although she knew her way around perfectly well, she had to maintain a certain profile while she was here. She wouldn't rush through the castle shouting Celestia's name. She sighed. Things were so much easier in Ponyville. When they finally reached the halls that led to Celestia's quarters, the guard stood to the side of the door and nodded to the sentries. The pair, after assuring no pony was trying to follow in Twilight's wake, nodded back and opened the door just enough for her to get through. Please go ahead, Lady Twilight. She nodded and walked in. The first pony she saw was Captain Lance, laying outside the door she had never seen before. The yellow grizzled guard still looked like a steward, like he did as far back as Twilight could remember. Although she had not lived all her life in the palace, she had seen the guards plenty of times during parades at Canterlot. Lance had always marched proudly at the front of the guard, bigger and tougher than the rest of the younger troops.
Try, Sparkle!
He chuckled as he rushed up and nuzzled him.
It's been too long. How are things in Ponyville?
They're great, Twilight said, smiling. Her smile slid away a little as she stared. I'm sure you've read reports about the Ursa Minor and other little problems, but I assure you those are far and few between.
The unicorn chuckled. You can tell me about that later. Right now, we got more important matter at Huff.
What happened? Twilight asked. Everybody's been so secretive about it. Even Luna's lair was vague at best. That's because only Canterlot, Tia, and I know what's going on, Luna said, walking out of the mysterious room. We all trust you to use very careful judgment if you tell any pony about this. Twilight Sparkle nodded soberly, regaining it in her curiosity. Is Princess Celestia okay? Follow me. Luna started walking towards the strange new room. I'll see for yourself. Twilight followed Princess Luna into the mysterious room, where her eyes immediately settled on the lone pony huddled in the middle. Princess! Twilight ran to nuzzle her, hug her mentor, taking note of the sorry state Princess Celestia was in. What happened? For her part, Princess Celestia rested her chin on her student's shoulder. She had visibly perked up by the welcome addition to the ponies around her. I'm sorry, Twilight. I know I should be out there, but I couldn't. Not after seeing this. Stirred by that comment, Twilight Sparkle finally turned around to look at the room itself. Any words that she could have said stuck in her throat, and as her mind quickly connected the dots, it came to the obvious conclusion. But how is this possible? We don't know, Luna confessed. Some pony considerable power caused a spell so potent that every pony in the palace might have known to forgotten about this room. And if any pony even knew about my sister's Finny, they forgot about her too. Twilight Sparkle looked at her mentor, curled up in the center of the empty room, staring longingly at the crib, and the books and dolls. Princess Celestia would levitate the dolls up, hesitate, and slowly lower them down into the crib again. Almost as if she was afraid of taking them out of their sacred place. She loved Princess Celestia with all her heart. She was more one way, like a second mother. Twilight spent more time with the princess than her real parents, after all. Celestia had been the one solid pillar in her life. When Twilight's mother had passed away soon after Twilight's admission into Celestia's school, stepping in after her father had secluded himself in grief, unable to see his daughter. To see her like this, deprived of the happiness that a foal of her own would have brought her, to make her forget even having had one, it was horrible. Who would do something like this? She asked quietly, but the other three in the room could feel the cold anger in her voice. Who could take? She couldn't say it. Again, we don't know, Luna said, her own voice angry. But we intend to find out. Between the three of us, we three are the most knowledgeable ponies in magic. If we study the spells here, we should be able to gain some clues.
I'm not concerned with my own investigation,
Lance said, standing at the entrance.
I only need a time frame.
20 years, Twilight said, drawing the attention of the three ponies. It should be close to 20 years ago. Princess Celestia's filly should be a young mare about my age by now. Not that I doubt you have a solid explanation for your calculation. But how can you be so certain? Twilight Sparkle walked towards a small bookshelf containing Foal's books. Here, this rhyme book was first published around 20 years ago. She smiled sheepishly. I had a copy of myself at home before I moved into the castle. Lance chuckled and Luna smiled. I'm glad I immediately thought of you, Twilight Sparkle. You couldn't have kept me away. Twilight said with a sad smile of her own. Not when my mentor needs me. Luna sighed. Speaking of which, she went towards her sister. Tia, you must rise. My moon has been in the sky for far too long. Our subjects and friends need you to be strong. Concentrate. Between us, we can solve this and find your Finny. But we can't keep all of Equestria in a panic. Slowly, Princess Celestia looked up, first at her sister, who had a warm, comforting smile on her face. Then her eyes strayed to Lance, who nodded at her, his face tired but understanding. Finally, her eyes sought out Twilight's. There she found strength, in the eyes of the one filly in her many years of life she considered as close as possible to a daughter. If any pony could find her lost daughter, it was Twilight. Closing her eyes, she took a deep breath still with purpose. She was tired from the tears, the lack of sleep, and the ever-present sting of newfound loss. But for her sister, her loyal captain, faithful student, a subject, and her daughter, whatever she might be, she could not simply lay there and do nothing. When she opened her eyes, she was ready. Let's raise the sun, my dear sister. Luna smiled and nodded. I'll stay, Twilight said, looking around. I feel the magic in this room. I think I can start making sense of what happened here, while you both put Equestria at ease, and rest. Both princesses nodded and walked out the room, leaving Canterlot and Twilight Sparkle behind.
I'll leave some guards outside the hall,
Canterlot said, the old unicorn turning around the room one last time.
Is there anything you need?
Twilight shook her head. I think I have it covered for now. Thank you, Captain. Lance chuckled, drawing her attention.
You've been hanging around the princesses too much, my dear Twilight. You almost sound like them.
Twilight blushed. I'm sorry, Captain.
The old unicorn shook his head. No, don't be. I'm glad you just lived to see you become the self-assured young mare you are today. I'll take my leave now, lady.
The lights of the city attracted the guardian to the edge of the river that separated it from the forest. His head reared up and turned to the north.
towards the distant mountains, where Canterlot was located. His eyes narrowed, and a growl escaped his throat.
See, escaped the nightmare.
He pondered in silence before looking back to the closer city. With the protection of the trees, he watched his ponies in the city looked nervous. Cassie looked to the night sky.
But then, where is the sun?
Murmur drew his attention back to the night sky as he turned towards the dawn, the midday mere minutes. As he turned, he absently used a claw to dig at something stuck between his fangs. He glared at it, distorted, flicking his saliva-coated cape at the formerly great and powerful Trixie into the river, and was sent away by the current. He resumed back in the forest, ignoring Trixie who glared at his receding form.
I think I'll need help,
She sighed, concentrating high. Her heart glowed. Soon, a small breeze pushed her head towards the city of Baltimore. There was only one pony she could think of that would even give her the time of day. It did set little Trixie to receive help from her once more. But what choice does she have? Her mare friend, Starlight Glimmer, doesn't even show up in this story.